The trooper approached the vehicle and interacted with the driver and went back to his patrol unit. The suspect fired multiple rounds from a rifle at the state trooper. The trooper died at the scene. The suspect left the scene in that 2012 Chevrolet Malibu traveling south on I-45. The suspect has been identified, and I'm going to have to read this one to you, so you'll have to edit this part out. I want to make sure I get it exactly right. The lone suspect was identified as Dabrett, D-A-B-R-E-T-T, Black, B-L-A-C-K, age 32, of Lindale, Texas. He is considered to be armed and dangerous. He was last seen driving that four-door Chevrolet Malibu. Anyone with information or anybody that encounters that individual is encouraged to call 911, notify local law enforcement.
Hello everybody, and welcome to the Wake Up Report. The good old Texas 90s baby was rounded up yesterday and will face capital murder charges now. Mr. Dabrett Black has been charged with the murder of Texas State Trooper Damon Allen on Thursday, Thanksgiving Day. You know, you could have been somewhere else. You could have been somewhere eating and having a nice time, but we know that's not how 90s babies operate. Death, destruction, mayhem, and terror, you know, is a holiday tradition for a lot of 90s babies. But anyway, during a routine traffic stop, Mr. Black pulls out a shotgun that he had in his car and shot Trooper Allen in the back as he was heading back towards his patrol car. So you know what was going down. He got pulled over for just a routine traffic stop. Probably no license plate, no registration, no tag, no insurance. You know, all of the things that a lot of you black people, when you get caught doing and the cops shoot you when you try to run, you wonder why the cops shoot you. But anyway, after the cop pulls him over, checks him out, heads back to the car, he probably knows that a ton of warrants are going to come up, and he pulls a shotgun out, shoots the trooper in the back, kills him right there on the road, and he takes off. They catch him later because he ran on foot, and after they got the dogs on him, caught him hiding somewhere, and they should have just told the dogs to eat his ass up right there. When they caught him, they should have gunned him down right there, because now you got to put him on trial, and you Texans are going to have to foot the bill for the trial. You're getting ready to charge somebody with capital murder. You're getting ready to find them guilty of capital murder, and then you're going to go through the whole process of executing the person, probably with the old lethal cocktail, and you're going to pile all this money on the taxpayers when you could have just ended it right there. He shot the cop, the dogs caught him, shoot him right there, end of story. So as usual, Ted Cruz gave the old standard, may our prayers and thoughts be with you crap, you know, and all of that. Donald Trump, who is quick to call the terrorists in Egypt recently, who murdered a mosque full of people, savages and degenerates, no good brutes, and we must put an end to all these terrorists. Well, he's yet to do anything about good old American domestic terrorism. In my opinion, this was a terrorist act. When you just openly murder a cop, you openly murder anybody like this, it should be considered a terrorist attack, and you should be gunned down right there on the spot. So as usual, you know, we will talk about everybody else's business. We will talk about everybody else's terrorists, but we won't do anything about our own domestic terrorists. Now, obviously, this is one of those cases where I could just go in on Mr. Black because he's guilty as all sin. So I could, you know, all kind of 90s babies this and all kind of savage that and all kind of all whatever. But I'm not going to do that this time around. This time around, I am going to say it is not Mr. Black's fault. He didn't murder that trooper. State of Texas murdered that trooper. Law enforcement in Texas murdered that trooper. The court system murdered that trooper. The lawyers who got him out of jail murdered that trooper. The NRA murdered that trooper. Anybody who has yet to give serious thought to serious gun legislation, to background checks, to mental checks, to anything that would preclude a convicted felon or criminal from getting their hands on a weapon other than a shotgun in their house, you murdered that trooper. You murdered Mr. Allen, on Thanksgiving Day. Reports have come back that Mr. Black has a history of assaulting law enforcement. He has attacked police officers on multiple occasions. He attacked a police officer and he tried to take the weapon, the gun, off of the hip of that cop. So when you're dealing with a person like this, and a lot of you who don't understand why police like shoot first and ask questions later sometimes, it's because when you're dealing with a criminal and you're in a situation where you have to struggle with a criminal, the possibility of that criminal getting that gun off of you and turning it on you exists. So you are trained to put that person down and make sure that person does not get up. That not only goes for the cops, it goes for any of us who can carry guns. If you have to use a weapon on somebody, I am not going to shoot you in the leg. I am not going to wound you to have you come back and try to get me later on. I'm going to end it right then. I am going to end it right there. When you're dealing with a person who has a history of attacking police officers, how are the courts able to let this person out on multiple occasions? How are lawyers able to argue in this person's defense and they are allowed back out on the streets to do the same thing again? Now, I know in Texas, in most southern states, I think, you can carry a shotgun in your car. But given this person's past, his run-ins with the law, the fact that he's attacked police officers and tried to take their weapons away from them to shoot them, why would a person like this be allowed to carry a firearm in their car? This person should be nowhere near firearms. But like I said, if he has it's his constitutional right to have a shotgun in his home or protection in his home. Other than that, this person should not be allowed to carry weapons out in the public. And the same politicians that send their thoughts and their prayers and all of that garbage, and I call it garbage because they don't mean it. All those politicians, the same ones who send their thoughts and their prayers, are the same ones who fight against background checks, mental checks, convicted felons. If you're a convicted felon, then you should not be allowed to carry any weapons around. You fight that tooth and nail. So, and then the good old NRA refuses to deal with the fact that everybody should not sometimes have access to firearms. You know me, I think you should be able to have, legally, you should be able to have anything that you want. But when you demonstrate that you lack the mental capacity, the mental stability, poor judgment when it comes to open carry firearms, concealed carry firearms, you should not have access to it. But they fight that tooth and nail. And then when somebody goes into a church in Texas and mows down a bunch of people, when somebody shoots a trooper in the back in Texas, you don't want to address that. So it's basically everybody's, the politician-wise, has got the thumbs up their asses because they do not want to deal with this issue of what to do with violent criminals, felons, and whatnot, and their access to guns. So I'd like to offer my thoughts and prayers to the state of Texas, my thoughts and prayers to the Texas lawmakers, my thoughts and prayers to all of the attorneys in Texas that work so hard to get creeps like this put back out on the streets. My thoughts and prayers to Ted Cruz, my thoughts and prayers to the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, my thoughts and prayers to the NRA, my thoughts and prayers to Donald Trump, my thoughts and prayers to all of you morons. I pray that one day you will grow a set of balls and do something about domestic terrorists and gun legislation in this country. This is KTM and the Wake Up Report saying think a little bit. It will do wonders for you.